She walks with her head.
Hi, my name is Cinnamon Denise. I am a member of Sigma Lambda Gamma, and I crossed at the Ablazin Alpha Gamma Chapter at the University of Miami. I am the voice behind our national song, and I hope you all have a beautiful Black History Month. Let's get it!
Every day he sits under his bridge, going over his poems. I wonder if...
My name is Cinnamon Denise. I share this because it's important. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And I am also a military brat. So I wouldn't say that I travel everywhere, but I've been a lot of places, let's say that. I am a producer, a storyteller, and an artist. I am mainly known, right, as a singer, as a vocalist, as a songwriter. And, my story kind of began as far as singing when I was a little girl. I started singing when I was 4 years old, and to accelerate this aspect of my story, that was the first time I felt like I could hear my own voice when I started singing. And if anyone ever has the opportunity to speak into a mic, much less sing into a mic, and hear yourself kind of echoing into a room, that is one of the most powerful things, one of the most powerful experiences that I've ever had. I continued singing. I started playing the clarinet when I was 9 years old, which is a whole other kind of sidebar story. But I started playing clarinet when I was 9 years old, and eventually I was sitting at the dinner table with my parents, and I was like, I want to be a musician. I'm like 12 years old. And like I said, I didn't really talk much, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't really talk. I was a very shy child. So when I did speak, it was more stately, right? It was just very I don't want to do that. This tastes nasty. Wow, that dress is a pretty color. It was just very stately things. It wasn't, I wasn't a child that would ramble. You had to kind of dig it out of me. So when I did speak, the statement coming out of my mouth was probably already 50% done. It was 50, it was already probably 50 or 60% done, right? So I told my parents, I want to be a musician. And they were like, well, you're gonna have to get a scholarship for that. If you want to study music. I'm like, I want to study music in college. I want to be a musician. Fortunately, I had a beautiful band director who was like, if that's the case, I would suggest switching instruments because the clarinet is so saturated, which is a common theme. And so I switched to the bassoon. Went to an art school for high school and went to the University of Miami on a music scholarship. And I feel strongly that music to me, art is just a medium. My voice is a medium, no different than a painter using a specific type of paint or another visual artist using maybe fabric as their medium. Music is just it's my medium to tell stories, which is why I introduced I'm a producer.
I love that.
I take a creative idea and I make it.
Pretend it's just a year ago. No need to act stranger. Maybe it's me trying to change.
I'm building my production company, Cinnamon Productions.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Cinnamon Productions. We make meaningful music and media and movement. So if it's not something that drives humanity forward in a positive way, we don't make it. And if it does, we probably in there. So whether it's podcasts or a short film or documentary, a piece of music, a jingle, that's where we're at.
Could you tell me when in your life you could pinpoint, okay, no, I want to produce music. This is why I'm here.
Oh, yes. So the concept of fear. The concept of fear. I thought for a long time, when people tell you you're good at this thing, you're a great singer, you're a really good singer, you're a really good songwriter. for me, I was like, okay, that's the thing. Like, that's what I'm good at. That's what I'm going to do. That's the only thing I can do. I pigeonholed myself just because I was like, this is the thing I'm good at, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I did a disservice to myself by not, for some time, right? By not exploring another part of me, which was like producing, which is to me where the magic is.
I woke up this morning and my sorrow said hi.
Which is where like the juice, the sauce, good stuff, that's where that's at. Producers are magicians. And as I started shadowing more, learning more about it, like my degrees are in music technology, music production, you know, so I do sing, right? I sing,
Mm-hmm.
but really my true passion was like, I love producing, like really and truly. How did you make that? Also found that I have a gift for it. But I would have known sooner if maybe I wasn't as afraid of failure. Also afraid of like always being the only woman in the room. Or if I also didn't have to deal with being told that I don't know what I'm doing. Like, yes, I know I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I'm asking you, right? So like the fear, the juxtaposition of I don't know, I can know, I know. I'm gonna, you know. So the moment of it was really, I would say, my senior recital was when I realized, wait, wow, I'm good at this. Like, hold on a second. I'm really good. You know, I had to make a whole story and a media production, and it was a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of work to senior recital. But it was in that moment that I was like, wait a minute, that was good. Yeah.
I know you said producing came kind of later, but were there any early influences that really shaped your artistic journey?
Yes, and I can't say they were always producer specific. I will say Shonda Rhimes, she has a lot of things going on, but learning her story, I respect it. I really do. I respect it a lot. And the more I learned about people's stories, the more I naturally understood them, right? And I would say influences too. I love Whitney Houston. And a lot of people don't know that Whitney Houston was a producer. You know,
very true.
Whitney Houston produced the Cheetah Girls. You know?
Yes, I know. That was amazing.
That's amazing, right? And when I made that, and I already loved Whitney as it starts, and her and I, like, we have the same birthday, so I was like,
really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Right. So then when I started discovering all these, like just looking at discography and looking at who really worked on what, the more it was revealed to me that like, yes, I can do this. You know, yes, I can do this. And also influences, I will say, my peers. Like I grew up with other musicians. So it was easier to be like, oh, what do you think about this thing? 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 I will also say influences, I will kind of replace that with mentors, because mentors are like tangible influences. And so, like I shared, my band director who switched me from the clarinet to the bassoon, like her literally saying, her just taking the time to do that for me, right? Because that process was, we had to find an instrument for me, you know.
I know that took a while.
That took a while. Like that took the like January to summer, right? We were trying to find me an actual bassoon, you know, and she did that. She didn't have to do that.
That is very true. Taking the time.
She didn't have to do that.
That's true. That's amazing, though.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, she's a middle school band director. She did not have to do that for me. But she did, right? And then she found me one. And then I spent the whole summer taking lessons from one of her friends, right? Taking bassoon lessons from one of her friends, just so I could get kind of caught up with everyone else.
I had goosebumps.
Like, she didn't have to do that. And I think that's why I say mentors resonate a little bit more with me than influences, because they're
Mhm.
tangible influences. And when people who literally, like her, just do kind things,
Mhm.
that's not in her job description. Like, to go out of her, that was not her job, that was above and beyond. And when people do kind things, I don't forget them. At least I try really hard not to forget them.
Can you describe your creative process and your approach to writing and composing and producing?
I'll back my way into the answer.
Okay.
Okay. To address the music, one must address the musician. And to address the musician, one must address the human. And to address the human, you got to address all the parts that make us human, particularly what motivates us,
Mhm.
what motivates us individually, and the ego, right?
Yeah.
The ego. And ego is not a bad thing. The ego is not a bad thing whatsoever. I tell people all the time, I joke, but I'm also serious. Yeah, I have a big ego. I have the nerve to get on a stage and sing for 2 hours, and I feel strongly that you should sit and listen to me sing.
As
Right?
you
Like,
should.
I feel strongly about that. I do. But the balance of that is like, the backbone is like, okay, I've been doing the work for a long time. So it's not a crazy thought to say, oh, yeah, I do think you should listen to me sing for 2 hours and pay me. Like, I don't think that's crazy.
It's
So
not.
it's not that. So that's not egotistical. That's just the ego.
Logical.
Yeah, that's just logic, right? And so the creative process is always, yes, always going to be impacted by what the human is going through. It is not like, art doesn't get created in a silo, right? If I'm feeling really sad today and I go and I have to write a happy jingle, you're asking for me to create art that is not even true to my current state, right? Now, don't get me wrong, like, it's a skill to be like, let's turn the sadness down. It's a skill to be like, let's turn the sadness emotion down and try to focus on this. But my creative process typically starts with, in an abstract way, it starts with like what I'm going through. It starts with what I'm going through.
That's the perfect canvas.
It is. It is a perfect canvas. And as like tangibly speaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to create something that speaks to the fact that there aren't that many non-classical Black bassoonists, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? Okay, well, first and foremost, what is my motivation? So now I'm going to go back to why do I want to do that? Because I didn't feel like I was able to see that. Like, I feel like I had to search really hard for that,
Yeah.
And that was discouraging for me. It might be motivating for someone else, but like at one point that was discouraging. As a 13-year-old girl, that was
of course.
So then I go, okay, that's my motivation. And then I go, wait, the other motivation is, wait, I like R&B music. So I want to make R&B music on the bassoon. Like, that's simple. That's a very simple thing. So then I just go, okay, what is the concept here? So I'm going back to like kind of tangible, the concept. I always start with the concept. And sometimes the concept is a melody. And sometimes the concept is like a groove. Sometimes it is like a story. It may not always be my story. I mean, I got imagination, Like, it may not always be my story. Maybe something I overheard in a coffee shop. But as long as I understand my motivations, which is like a meditative practice or a yogic practice or just mindfulness, I can create any story.
Well, we all know Black History Month is approaching, and it's a time to celebrate cultural contributions. How do you feel your work has contributed to the larger conversation around Black identity or culture in music or beyond?
Well, I'm Black. I contribute to the community. That's
Hmm.
how, you know, like
Yeah.
just starting there. But I will say too that I've made it a point. Why you're gonna start crying? I've made it a point that even when even if I really do want to work with someone or on something, if it opposes, if it reiterates any sort of negativity or oppression of any kind, I won't work on it. That has humbled me, but that alone, like I sleep well at night knowing that like if I worked on something, I didn't just do it I didn't step on anyone else to get it, to do it. And I won't. And I won't appropriate another culture to do it. I won't contribute to the marginalization of a group that I am or am not a part of, because I know what it's like to experience it, right?
Yeah.
So the amount of integrity that I keep intact is another way. And the other way that I contribute is by like, yeah, I play the bassoon. Yes, I'm a classically trained bassoonist, but please don't ask me anymore to play Bach. I don't want to play any more Bach. I don't want to play Mozart. I can. I do not want to. You know why? Because that's not the music I hear. That's the music that you want me to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the music that vibrates out of my body. And it's beautiful music. I enjoy it. I enjoy listening to it. But it's not the music that vibrates naturally out of my body. It's to me like salmon energy music. Like it's swimming upstream music, right? And because I'm a talented musician, I can do it.
Yeah, you can, girl.
But what's true to me is like is something else. And like being true to myself is part of that.
And
yeah, listen, because you had mentioned resistance, this concept of resistance, and I really liked that word because I actually sat and thought about it. Like, what does resistance mean to me?
mm-hmm.
And resistance means like resist the urge to just like try to get to like resist the urge to take the easy way, resist the urge to turn a blind eye, resist the urge to like stay quiet. Sometimes it's resist the urge to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, just, resistance is not always really loud. It's like, it's very silent. And it's silence is not timidity. Like, it's very courageous.
Mm-hmm. Trust me.
Yeah, it is. And so, like, sometimes I do still get like, are you shy? I'm like, I'm not shy. I'm being quiet. And sometimes observing is also resistance. Like, I'm not going to make an assumption. I'm going to like really try to observe.
Well, I know we spoke about contributions. I do have a question about one of your contributions.
Tell me.
How did the iconic SLG song came about?
Ooh, iconic.
Iconic.
The iconic. How did it come about? Hemi. I had just got fired.
Oh.
I just got let go. And I was riding my car. I always sing in my car. If you ever like are riding with me in the car and you don't like singing, then you probably don't want to ride with me in the car. I sing my way through things, and I felt so disappointed in myself because the way it unfolded. Because quite frankly, it was my fault. Like I made a mistake. I made a mistake, and that's kind of what happened. And I was just so like discouraged, feeling very hard on myself. And I was like, yeah, not liking how I'm feeling. And I tried to I thought about like, like affirmations that I could say to myself, you know, and what could I reach for that made me like, I am not like these negatives. I'm not this negative self-talk that's happening right now. And so, which does go back to like the creative process, like where you are, you know? So I just started, I tried to say everything of the opposite that like while I was speaking to myself. You know, I walk my head held high. You know, I have pride. And I also, because I was talking to my line sisters too, which were very close. And I was telling them, I was like, oh, y'all, like, you know, this is tough. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is hard, you know? And they're like, you got this, Deuce. And I'm like, do I though? Do I? You know? But that is like why I come in. And so I really appreciated them for that moment too. And so that's how it came about. I was literally writing in my car. I turned on my voice memos on my phone. And I started singing. Like just humming. Just starting. She walks with her head held high. You know, and in some aspects, I was getting ready to say I didn't believe it. But if I didn't believe it, it wouldn't have came out of my mouth. It helped me come out of that. Wow. And being unafraid of like the truth in that moment, like there are a couple pieces of music that are kind of like that. It's raw, it's real.
Yeah.
It's true.
You can hear it. You can
I'm
feel
telling
it.
the story. Yeah, like I'm telling the story, you know? And so that same, when I got home, I went and I recorded it. Now I'm also like, I'm a producer. So I'm like, let's add some harmony. That's my thing. Like the harmonies are also my thing. I'm like, let's add some harmony, and just clean it up, you know? And then I shared it with my line sisters and they were like, they're like,
girl.
Classic Deuce. They're like, classic Deuce move to just randomly make something really beautiful. And then I shared it. And then it got shared again and again and again and again and again and again for years. I mean, it's still getting shared now.
Yeah,
right?
We still play it.
We still play it, and it's still. But I'm like before it became our national song, right? Our anthem. It was just every so often, and like really and truly, like when people tag me or share with me, I can't even say there's not a word that I would even that exists. I don't believe there's a single word that exists that could explain how the feeling that it gives me, like the pride, the honor, the encouragement, because I still be having my days. I still have my days, but then like Morgan State shares them like singing the song in a circle at their new member presentation, and I'm like,
the goosebumps.
Come on, you know, or somebody makes a like crossing gift that has those lyrics on it. And I refuse to believe that with that honor, I don't have a purpose, you know.
I know you went through a lot of challenges in your career, that being one of them, and how you basically navigating it, basically coming out with an amazing song. What other monumental achievements would you say, or the most fulfilling moments or accomplishments in your career thus far?
Ooh, man. I would really say being a full-time, like being a producer, like being a full-time producer, that's an accomplishment. Just
No, for real.
just to like put that out there. The fact that I like sustain myself from this work, that's beautiful. Also graduating from Berklee, getting my master of music and music technology. I'm like, I think that's one of the most difficult things I've ever done. Because it was also overseas, it was in Spain.
Wow.
And like navigating okay, I'm graduating from undergrad, and everybody knows, like, when you finish undergrad, everyone's looking at you like, what are you gonna do now? And you're like, I don't know, let me walk across the stage first.
No, for real.
It's like, I don't know. You have no clue. And so balancing that, like going straight from graduating to getting accepted to graduating, that's a beautiful accomplishment. The other thing I would say, accomplishment has been, it's not so succinct, like moments like this, like being asked to be interviewed. Like people ask me, what's yours? Like being asked, what's your story? That's an indicator of like value, you know. I'm trying to think what else. I was also won a jingle writing contest for podcasts, which was really cool.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting. Did that with a friend. Probably hundreds of submissions. We won. Like, come on.
Yes.
You know, stuff like that. And then when people listen to the podcast, this podcast is it's called Bops and Bangers.
Bops and Bangers.
And like,
let me write that down so I could go look it up.
Yeah, go look at, like, when you listen to the podcast, me, like, you know, like wrote this song again with my friend, and to win that, like, that was also an honor. Goodness. Songwriting contest. I won 3 songwriting contests, which has been beautiful. And placed second in the pop category in 1 songwriting contest, and second and third in they called it just singer-songwriter category, which is also beautiful. And what else? Accomplishments: getting my yoga certification.
Oh, okay.
One. Getting my Dante certification, which Dante, I have to clarify this. Dante is an audio-visual over internet protocol certification. People are like, who is Dante? I'm like, no. Dante. Getting that certification, like, that was
dabbling
really
in multiple fields. I love it.
It was really meaningful for me. So yeah, I would just say the accomplishments, the successes, waking up literally happy.
That's the goal.
Waking up happy. Like, my friend asked me the other day, are you happy? I was like, yes.
That's amazing.
It's not without effort. I do believe that within context, happiness is a choice, right? I'm going to be very clear when I make that statement, because I want to be very clear with this statement. Happiness is a choice. Like, depression is not a choice, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice. Like, oh, okay, like choosing your peace, like protecting your peace. You can either choose to protect your peace or, not. That's what I'm saying when I say happiness. Waking up happy.
Well, I have 2 more questions.
Yeah.
But one of them that I'm really curious about is, as you look ahead, are there any particular themes or projects you're excited to explore in the near future, either musically or in other creative outlets?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as I share, I'm a producer. I'm building Cinnamon Productions, and Cinnamon Productions. So Cinnamon, TAL, Cinnamon Productions. And I'm working on a couple of audio fiction podcasts. So we're kind of growing a podcast network right now, and we're in pre-production on like 4 different shows. So like these projects are so exciting to me, because I'm like, now I get to like not only tell a story, but I get to be like working with working with actors, like working with more actors than anything. I recorded I was in a movie last year, like I filmed a movie last February.
Really?
Yes. Also, I am so focused, and this This is good. I'm so focused on positioning myself again more and more and more and more and more as a producer who sings versus a singer who produces. So this year I am putting music out, but it's like I wrote and produced this song for this artist. You know?
Yeah.
And so like that is stretching me to understand more about personalities and how we singers are we are a little peculiar, and I love that, you know. So it's stretching me to be like, how do I take my idea and your idea and make it this our idea? How do we do that? So there are some songs that are coming out with some artists that I'm like really excited about.
I can't wait to see.
Can't wait. I cannot wait. And the music that I work on now is really and truly just because I want to. Right? It's just because it's not to like start trending. It's not to, I mean, if you want to dance to it, like you can and you should, but it's literally because I'm like, this is what my ancestors have gifted me with today. And I'm gonna be a conduit to like bring this idea forward, and I'm gonna do it fearlessly. So those projects are really what I'm looking forward to.
Well, to conclude, if you could leave a message or legacy for future generations, what would it be?
Literally 20 different things came out at the same time. And I was like, universe, help me make it succinct. So I would say be kind. Particularly to yourself. Particularly to yourself. Definitely not like internalizing mistakes. And like forgive yourself. Yeah. As soon as I learned that my cycles, like the difficult emotions, fear, disappointment, embarrassment, shame, which is not a full existence. But when I understood why I experienced those emotions, and it was because I need to learn how to forgive myself. And like faster, like forgive yourself. Like, ooh, oops. You know, I'll be more mindful next time. I'll be more mindful. It's okay to make a mistake, but like, yeah, I think that's like part of being kind, self-compassion, be kind to yourself. And then that does overflow into other aspects of our lives, right? Like if I, it's not as, if I forgive myself faster, right? And someone tells me that I said something that offended them, I can go like, I'm not perfect. Maybe I really did. What did they say? Like, what did I say? What did I do that offended you? Oh, I'm so sorry. Or like, I'm sorry that you felt that way. That is not actually what I did. Right? Like knowing when, like sometimes an apology is there and sometimes it's not, but being kind to yourself, particularly to yourself.
I think that's an important message. I think oftentimes we forget to be kind to ourselves. So I think that message alone is important. I think it will resonate with everybody.
Yeah. No. If you still here, also too, like that was, I felt for some time I wasted time. I felt like I wasted time doing some things, not doing some things. And it's like, yeah, but if you still here up and kicking, yeah, make a different decision today. Yeah. Forgiveness be doing it. Kind of self-compassion. Yeah. I appreciate you so much. And happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. I'm so
Happy
excited
Black
for it.
History Month. Like, being Black is lit. It's a thing.
For sure.
Very
For
proud.
real.
Black, and I'm proud. Love it. Love everyone. Trade it for anything. Ever. Would not trade it. Mm-mm.
Agreed.
Happy Black History Month to everyone. To everyone. So